My question is being answered as is everybody's, I would imagine, through the entire course of this experience. And so thank you for that. My reason for sitting here now is I am in the process of formulating a book that I'm trying to write about how one, through my experience, masters self so that we can move forward and live the life of our dreams. You've touched on everything from meditation to gratitude, obviously, to being present, to trusting, which I think trust is the most important. What else out of all of that do you feel would be the most important aspect I could or should include in that body of work?
And the intention of the book, what is the message you want to impart to those who read it?
That we have the power and the potential to be anything that we want to be, but most people don't believe that we are fully equipped or capable to do what we want to do and achieve.
And so it's basically what we're talking about here.
Yes.
And you're wanting an index?
Yes.
We appreciated your opening remarks here because what you acknowledged, we're going to take a little way around this because it'll be easier for you to hear than if we answer your question head on. And we are going to fully answer your question, so just enjoy this unfolding. We really appreciated your opening remarks because what you said to us, you tried to be very fast as you said it, but what you were wanting to convey to us is that you had several things that you were interested in that all took place before you sat here. And so you were acknowledging what felt to you like a perfect unfolding, getting ready for this next. It was like we were in this vehicle and this vehicle and this vehicle and this vehicle, and now we're at this place of having this conversation. And that is the way it has been today. It is the way that it always is, but it was especially that way today. In other words, a largest number of clickings into place have taken place here today as a result of this perfection in unfolding of this, which leads us to something that came up earlier that we wanted to express with more detail. And that was the subject of our friend who was skiing and collided with someone else who was trying to occupy the same space at the same time. And even the subject of Esther rendezvousing with the elevator in the way that she did, or the people at the airport in the way that she did. And so we want to put some words around this segment for the purpose of a track title, so to speak. We're going to tell you what we're going to tell you, and then we're going to tell it to you, and then we're going to tell you what we told you, because this is really an important thing for you to understand about all of this. So this is what this is about. Infinite intelligence is infinite intelligence. And there are not enough words that could be articulated even in your entire lifetime to adequately describe the knowledge that infinite intelligence holds in relationship to you, in relationship to everything and everything else in the universe. This is mastery of understanding. This world doesn't just go around. This world is created. It is creation. It is not by chance. It is not willy-nilly. It is not airy-fairy. It is not by accident. It is not coincidence in the way humans mean coincidence. It's coincidence in that you're co-creating incidences, but timing of things. The timing of things is a masterful creation that we want you to focus on and just do your best to feel just for a moment. We want you to feel the all things are possible nature of this conversation that we're offering to you here. So a statement that we made that collided with some of your belief systems earlier today was that the night before, Esther's inner being knew what the circumstance of that elevator was going to be the next day. That kind of has to twist your brain into a knot. It makes it sound like things are predetermined or like there is something that is out of your control. It isn't like that at all. Nothing is out of your control. It's just that every path isn't the path of least resistance. Nothing is out of your control, meaning that there is always a path. You discovering the path has to do with your willingness to intertwine with that broader perspective who does know. Some years ago, Esther and Jerry were in Texas, and they went to pick up their mail at a little town a short distance from where their house actually was sitting. And when they got to this little town and to the post office was surrounded by water. They had sandbags in the doorway to try to keep the water out because the Cibolo Creek had risen from the large amount of rain. And so they couldn't get in to get their mail, but the roadways that they were driving on were high enough that they were fine, but the low areas were off limits to them for a while, for this day. So Jerry said, let's call our friends in San Antonio who own a 1,000-acre ranch sort of right in the San Antonio city limits, and that Cibolo Creek runs right through their property. So if the creek is over its banks here, it's soon going to be over its banks there, and it runs right through a pasture where they have cattle and equipment. And so they called them and said, hey, just want you to know the Cibolo's over its banks and it's headed your way. And they had enough time that they moved the cattle into another field, higher ground, got the equipment out of the field, and then their friend called back and said, thank you so much. We were completely unaware. And we said, nice to have a friend upstream. So what we mean by this is something just that simple. Your inner being is in this altitude of perspective, of not just being able to see you where you are in relationship to the now things that are happening, but so much more. Everything, this path of least resistance that we're talking about, everything from where you are to where you want to be is known by your inner being. Everything about you and everything about everyone else that would relate to you is known by your inner being and their inner beings. And your inner beings and their inner beings are vibrationally in cahoots with each other. Vibrationally intertwined with each other for the well-being, for the upliftment of all. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand what good hands you are in? Do you understand that when your life has caused you to ask for something, how much energy and knowledge and energy that creates worlds is on board with you? But when you are doubtful of your own worthiness or not trusting your own ability, then even though that guidance which is available to you, you don't let yourself receive it for reasons of practicing thought. What we mean by that is by keeping beliefs going that you learned from somebody, that you learned from somebody, that they learned from somebody. In other words, most humans are not living in the now, which means most humans do not allow them access to the friend upstream. And we just cannot speak clearly enough the intelligence, the love, and the capability of that friend upstream. So much so that all things are understood because energy is in motion. And energy that is in motion is understandable by non-physical. And the way the energy that is in motion is turning out is understood by non-physical. This is not a guessing game. This is not an if game. So most humans hearing something like this would say, well, then why don't you make it clearer? Why don't you make what you know more clear to me so I will know it? And we say to you, what could be more clear than when you have the thought of skiing today that you feel yucky? What could be more clear? In other words, that's communication with every cell in your body. That's communication with you. Now, it's not your inner being saying, don't do this. This is your inner being looking somewhere else and you going somewhere that your inner being isn't looking. That's all. This isn't your inner being trying to keep you from doing things. This is your inner being just always pointing you in the direction of what your inner being knows you want. Because your inner being knows who you were coming in, knows who you were as non-physical energy, knows who you've become because of every step of your life, and has watched every single incremental change in your determination of who you are and what you want, and is right there ready to assist you. And here's the thing we so want you to hear: inner beings ready to assist everyone else. Talk about win, 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 win. This can take a while because there's billions of you. Win, 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 win. Oh. So now what was your question?
You answered it. You answered it beautifully and perfectly. Thank you.
But speak it again. Speak your question again so that everyone will feel the fullness of what just happened. It's hard to even find it because the answer is a stronger vibration, but find your question.
My question was actually more specifically tied to a book, but the answer was about my action to create the book. And so I took more from it than what I asked.
So your inner being knows who you are and what you came to say. And your inner being knows how what you came to say has changed over time.
Yes.
And your inner being knows what the world wants to hear. And your inner being knows where they are in their life experience. What we're talking about is the inspiration for the perfect, whatever it is always available to you. So what did you take away from this? What was the primary message that you heard us just deliver? We'll tell you what we want it to be. You already did the work of writing the book by living your life so far.
Yes.
So you already wrote the book by your life so far. You already asked the questions that wrote the book. So the book is already there to be received. So is your work to figure out what to put in the book? Abraham's got this and this and this and this. What should chapter 8 be? Or is the book already written and what you want to do is just get into the receiving mode and receive the book? And what is the book that you want to write? The book that will meet people where they are and take them to the next vehicle. The other day we were talking to someone who was talking about career, and this person used the word vehicle, and that was when we began using the word vehicle in the way that we demonstrated to you here today. So we said to this person, because this person had a job and then had another job and was ready for another job, but the thing that they got from our vehicle discussion, you keep thinking that you should find a vehicle that will take you the whole ride. So you sort of think you've got to write the book that will take you the whole ride, or take the world the whole ride. Oh, just going to write the book. And it's going to feel good as you write it. And those who are ready for it will benefit from it greatly. And everyone on the planet isn't ready for the book that you're ready to write. But everybody on the planet doesn't need to be ready for the book that you're ready to write. And your inner being knows the book that you're ready to write, and knows the people who are ready for the book that you're ready to write. That whole rendezvous will be orchestrated at an unseen level that you may trust. So when you get your head out of that game, your inner being knows what stocks will pay off. Your inner being knows where you are in relationship to that. Your inner being knows where the lottery ticket is. Your inner being knows everything that you think that you want to know. Your inner being knows when your best passage through traffic is. Your inner being knows when the flyer is going to come down the mountain, is going to try to occupy that space, and will help you not try to occupy the same space. All things are known, and things that Esther's vocabulary does not have the ability to articulate. You getting the picture? This is big stuff. This is big stuff. This is big knowing, and you may trust it. And most of all, and you're not going to get this just from our words, you are worthy. It's time for you to let what you will call these blessings in. You are worthy. So there.
This felt really good, and we should do it again. Thank you.